If you're heading off to Disney and don't know where to start, click yourself over to MiceChat and you're out of the dark. They take the dizzy out of Disney for you and for me. So come on, it's MiceChat, that's where it's at. MiceChat.
Hi everybody, Dusty Sage here in the MiceChat mansion for another MiceTube live video, and I'm really enjoying these. I am joined today, as always, by the lovely Miss Chloe Ferreira, and the should I say the lovely Logan Collins.
That works.
It's a horrible misogynistic thing for me to even say. I can't stop myself. But anyway, we are so glad to have you all here. We are, of course, sheltering in place, just like all of you. And these videos allow us to reconnect with each other and with all of you out there in MiceChat land. And we appreciate you being with us. We've gotten a lot of great feedback from all of you. And we appreciate your help in getting the attention that these videos deserve. So it's a brand new series. A lot of folks don't know about it. MiceChat has really never done anything on YouTube, so we don't have a huge audience there. So anything you can do to help share this video is really appreciated. So thank you all very much. We're going to dive right in because even though it's Monday for us when we record this, it'll probably be Tuesday when you see this, there isn't a lot of news coming out of Disney because they're about to shut down and most of their staff is going to be furloughed for a while. You can find out about that in our previous video. There is still some news, and today they launched a brand new website. And have either of you heard of this website or seen it yet?
No, but before we get started, you have to clarify what is behind you because we're just looking at a naked baby over your shoulder and then on the other side. What's going on?
You don't all have naked babies in your home?
No.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wouldn't want people to think that I have weird stuff in my house. This, of course, is what everyone should have in their home, and this is the painting from Pirates of the Caribbean. When you drop into the cave scene at Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean, there's that scene with the pirate pouring the booze into the cup and it's going down his stomach, and just behind him there's this painting of Red.
How did you get it?
Here's a baby. Well, the ride is shut down, so I just kind of borrowing it for a while. So I'm just keeping it safe so it doesn't get stolen or anything bad happen to it. Yeah, but I really love this painting. I'm not exactly sure who did it. It might be Mark Davis. I'm sure somebody will correct us, but it's an absolutely wonderful piece of art that I've been fascinated with since I was a kid because it was the closest thing to nudity that a kid's ever going to see. But this is Disney sanctioned, folks. So as I move back in and hide the bare-chested woman, it just leaves a cherub behind my shoulder, and there may or may not be a hidden Mickey in this picture. So we'll just leave it at that. And on to Disney's new website, which is called what, Chloe? Because I can't remember the name of it.
Disney Magic Moments?
I think that's right.
Okay.
And it is a new website they created. It not for new content so much as a place for them to combine all of the content that might be good for people that are trapped at home. So instead of press releases and news about attractions that are opening and new churros and ears and stuff you can buy, like they would normally put on the Disney Parks blog and in their Twitter pages, it's just the fun stuff. So just the videos of like the Dapper Dan singing or the Jamators from Walt Disney World, or celebrities that are reading Disney stories for kids to listen to at home. Recipe for making churros in your house, and it's all free stuff. They're not charging for anything, and it's just a temporary website for them to put stuff together for while we're all trapped at home. And who knows, if it's very, very popular, maybe they'll keep it when all of this is over. I will say, if you go to MiceChat and look at our Monday update, which is called Tomorrow is Another Day, just kind of a play on Tomorrowland because the whole article is sort of about Tomorrowland, including tons of photographs from the MiceChat readers of Tomorrowland over the years. It's really magical. But in that article, we've embedded some of the videos from this new Disney service. So you can see the incredible performance from the Dapper Dans. And, there's not just the regular, one set of Dapper Dans. There's like lots and lots of them because they trade in and out. It's a 7-day week and, they need a lot of guys that are trained to do it. but they have all of them in this video. So at the end, when they all sing together, it's, you know, it's incredible. It doesn't sound like, you know, barbershop quartet. It sounds like, you know, 20 guys all singing these barbershop songs. It's really amazing. You never hear anything like this ever again. So similar thing with the Jammers, and the way they play the trash cans and stuff at Disney World, but they're at home, so they're playing pots and pans in their kitchen, and they're playing the big rubber trash can in the backyard, and it's great. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I want to see Disney doing right now, and it's really happy stuff. So kind of fun. Give it a look, folks. Let us know what you think. If there's anything you recommend that other people see. People don't live on websites anymore. You know, they're all on social media. So really takes people still sharing something for anyone to see it. So I wish that you all would check MiceChat.com every day and see what we've got. And we're posting throughout the day. But we know that until we've posted it to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, that no one's really going to see it. So that's how we all survive. Miss Chloe, what do you have for us today?
I have a little bit of a Moana freak out.
A freak out?
Yeah.
My favorite. Tell me all about it.
So just looking back, Epcot has released some upcoming attraction posters. Over the Festival of the Arts, they released the Guardians and the Ratatouille limited edition artist prints. I think they were like limited to like 100 or 150. They sold out pretty quickly. And then just this morning, since the parks aren't open, they released the Moana Journey of Water attraction poster on shopdisney.com. And when it first was released, there's like a little info area on the piece of art, and there was one line towards the bottom that said Moana Journey of Water opening in 2021, or set to open in 2021. And a couple of sites picked up on it, and it went viral, of course, and people went wild. And then Disney retracted that. They took out that little bit just as soon as it got, you know, some traction. And I mean, it's safe to say that we don't know when anything's going to open or if anything's going to open. So I think it is a little ambitious to think that they meant to put that in there as an announcement in a product detail page. I don't know. It's a little hairy with no construction workers. There's nothing going on there. So I don't think it's going to open in 2021. And if it is, that wouldn't be the way that they would announce it right now.
Well, it's interesting because I am sure that at some point they had intended for it to open in 2021, and that product page was probably created way before the parks shut down, and nobody thought about it again, and it goes live and boom, off it goes, because the product people don't know what's happening in the parks right now. And then somebody at Disney saw that people were commenting that it was opening next year, and they don't want to disappoint people. But the fact of the matter is, and going even deeper beyond assuming that this new attraction might open in 2021, like you said, there is no construction going on in the parks, but further, Disney's not quite sure how long this shutdown is going to last, nor how much money they're going to lose during this shutdown.
Right.
And the more money they lose, the more likely it is that certain attractions that haven't been built will either be delayed, scaled back, or canceled completely. And that kind of attraction not being very fancy is maybe likely some version of it'll happen, but it could be as simple as a very simple water playground, you know, themed to Moana, or it could be the fancier version, you know, the walk through water attraction that they've got planned. Chloe, do you remember anything about that attraction from the D23 Expo and kind of what it's supposed to be?
It is supposed to be a walk-through water experience. It was supposed to be nestled kind of between the land and sea pavilions in that huge kind of area that's taken up by bridges and waterways. It's supposed to be like an interactive water. I don't think they use playground, but it was supposed to be an interactive water experience, and it was going to take inspiration from the story of Moana. Yeah, that's all I know about it.
Unfortunately, they've already torn down a piece of the old Interventions building, which is part of this attraction is supposed to take. And that's where the Coca-Cola experience thing was, where you could go and try the delicious Beverly. And so that's already been torn down. But it's just as easy to concrete that over and put in a garden. And then behind it, a small Moana water playground, something or another, and claim that they've still delivered the thing they intended to do. So none of us know yet what's going to happen, including Disney, because they are waiting to see what's going to happen with all of this. A lot of the Imagineers are going to be furloughed in all of this. There's just not going to be work going on because there's no point in them rushing forward on building attractions that haven't started major construction if they don't know how much money they're going to have to build those things. And they may very well want to pull money from a Moana experience so that they can complete a Guardians of the Galaxy ride, which is going to get them more visitors. Is anyone going to make a special trip to Florida to do a Moana water walkthrough? No, but they will absolutely do that for a new roller coaster. So money is going to get shifted around for sure because of all of this. There's never been a time when Disney's been hit with economic hardship that they haven't pulled the reins back. We do know already that they've done orders in every department to freeze all spending, freeze all hirings. So they were already taking steps to control spending, and more is going to happen once they have a good handle on how much money they've lost. And your guess is as good as mine, folks, but having every theme park closed, every hotel, every retail store, and all the movie theaters in the country closed, and that's all Disney does for the most part, with the exception of ABC and a few other little things, their losses have got to be just catastrophic for the company. So I think we should all dial back our expectations for the parks once they reopen. Just be glad they're back, hope that they're well maintained, and not count on a lot of new attractions coming for a little while. And I think that's fair. I don't think it's fair for us to expect Disney to spend a ton of money. And some of these rides cost $500 million, you know, $450 million to $500 million to build that Guardians of the Galaxy coaster, for example. That's a lot of money for a company that's bleeding money. And one of those projects I think we talked about on the last show was the Star Wars Hotel. And it's very likely that that'll get pushed off a little while. There's a lot of technology going in there, probably worried about bookings and people being willing to pay $2,000 per person for a night of hotel stay, et cetera. And it would be simple to just push that off. The building is there. They can do something with it later. And I think we'll see a lot of those types of things happen. And I don't know yet, and neither does anyone else. So if you see websites talking right now about what is going to be cut, they don't know because Disney doesn't know. So keep that in mind. And there's certainly Imagineers talking and worried about their projects, et cetera, but that doesn't mean their project is going to be canceled. Also doesn't mean it's not going to be pushed back, canceled, or scaled back in some way. Yeah. And that even happens in good times. There are times when Disney's making money hand over fist and they decide to scale an attraction back or cancel it for various reasons. They lose confidence in it, or they simply need to send more money to another department or another project. And those kinds of things happen in a company like Disney. So that's a good one, Chloe. I liked that, that little news a bit. And what do you have, Logan? You're going to have to stand up to Chloe's high watermark there.
I don't know if I can beat Chloe, but I have some SeaWorld news, and that is that the fourth CEO in the last 6 years has resigned, and this one has only been there for 5 months. And he's citing differences with the stockholders and the shareholders.
And the board,
And the board, So
that is
good news.
I'd like to say that's surprising news, especially given that the parks are closed down. They have laid off like 90% of their employees. They really need a steady hand at the helm. But it's SeaWorld we're talking about. So I'm not surprised. We do know that there have been problems with the previous CEOs and the board of directors. And the issue seems to be that the board really has a heavy hand in the direction they want to see SeaWorld take. And so a CEO doesn't really have a lot of authority at SeaWorld right now. So every decision they want to make has to be approved by the board, and that's quite a process. And so I think it's extra problematic for SeaWorld to move forward. They don't really have a visionary at SeaWorld the way that Disney has had with Bob Iger, for example, who could do pretty much whatever he wanted and just tell the board what he's planning to do. And unless they think he's being grossly negligent, they're really not going to exert too much control over him. They may have resources that help him, which is what's great about Disney's board. They have power brokers from across the entertainment and tech world, and top guys from restaurant industry, all on Disney's board. But they have expertise and resources and ideas that help Disney implement things. But for the most part, it's Bob Iger and now Bob Chapek who are running the show. And that's not true at SeaWorld. So I do worry about SeaWorld. I think we've talked about that also on previous shows, that they're having so much financial difficulty as it is. Trouble since Blackfish. They've recovered a little bit, but way down from what an enterprise of their scale needs to really be successful. And I think that that's going to be a problem for them ongoing. If they can't get a steady hand at the rudder of that, the wheel of that ship, then eventually they're just going to keep sailing into troubled waters and eventually get bought out or off for their property and rides. And I can see that happening as well. In fact, a lot of people hope that they don't reopen from all of this, that the animals stay homes, and that something new comes out of those parks and they become amusement parks or Universal or Legoland or Merlin Entertainment buys them, something like that. And we will see what happens with SeaWorld. I personally worry about the animals. And those orca cannot just be released into the wild, folks. Most of them are captive raised for so long that they wouldn't be able to hunt in the wild. I don't know if any of you saw the movie Free Willy, which is all about releasing an orca from a sea life park where it was kept in a tank that was too small. But the real life Willy was released into the ocean and then died of essentially pneumonia because he just wasn't used to the water conditions. And it's hell to live in the ocean, even if you're top of the food chain like an orca, unless you got a pod to take care of you and you grew up there and know what the situation is. So I feel bad if they just release the orca and hope that they do well, because I just don't think they will. So something needs to happen. They need to have a safekeeping. Either the state needs to take over and make it just a sanctuary park that, it's free to come and see the orca and they live out the rest of their lives, and all captive breeding is stopped, which I think it already has been. So that's my concern about SeaWorld. I have a love-hate relationship with SeaWorld. I love animals. I hate to see them kept in small tanks. I think, Chloe, you feel similar?
Yes, very much so.
I grew up going to SeaWorld. I loved it. Logan, what are your thoughts?
I just wanted to add, too, that SeaWorld, unlike Disney, where Disney's obviously taking a massive hit, too. We've talked about that. They're taking a massive hit financially, but Disney kind of has a winning formula in the sense that people will show up there regardless of if Avengers Campus opens or not. And SeaWorld has been pouring a lot of money into building roller coasters and these other large-scale attractions because they're in the middle of rebranding almost essentially, and they're really trying to pull people in. So they need money to do that, where Disney can say, hey, we're just going to, cut back on certain areas, let the parks, kind of people start trickling back in, wait for, some sort of virus or, vaccine or at least antiviral drugs to help fight it so people can gain their confidence back. Where SeaWorld, they need that money to continue to build new attractions.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to require some sort of a cash infusion from somewhere for SeaWorld to really be saved. And that could come from a number of different sources. I mean, they could be bought out by investor capital firm that just wants to put money in and rebrand it or do something with the SeaWorld name. But I think the SeaWorld name has been so tarnished that would be hard. More likely somebody would come in and rebrand them to something else. And could very well be a group like Hershey Entertainment that owns Dollywood and Silver Dollar City. They could come in and, minimize the animal stuff and maximize, charming family entertainment. It is Orlando. That's what people are looking for. Dolly had her Dixie Stampede restaurant there for a long time, very successful, got bought out by a local outlet mall for expansion. And then I don't know if they ever did anything with it, but I was sorry to see Dolly go. The really charming, high quality stuff that they do. So I think that'd be a really good fit. You could also maybe imagine Six Flags or Cedar Fair coming in. They do not have a presence at all in Orlando. There's no Six Flags park in Orlando. And for people that are just looking for a ride, a lot of teenagers come to Orlando and are a little bit disappointed that there aren't really theme parks. There are the smaller fun, what do they call, Fun Spot or?
Fun Spot, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of those in town that have good roller coasters and stuff, but they're small. And I think that, maybe a family amusement park that's not a theme park might do well in Orlando. Knott's Berry Farm's owner, Cedar Fair, could do the same thing. Cedar Point, Knott's Berry Farm, it could be a cross between family entertainment and a theme park. And the SeaWorld property is huge. They have 3 parks there. So definitely somebody could do something with it. And I don't want to rain doom down upon SeaWorld. They have enough troubles without us talking about them. But I think it would be naive of us not to see the writing on the wall there, particularly with the revolving door of CEOs. If people felt comfortable with SeaWorld's future, they wouldn't leave that top spot, because you lose all of the value in your in the stock that they give you and other things. So this CEO will leave with no golden parachute. He's not getting stock options for leaving. He's not getting cash. He's just going. So that's a sign. He wouldn't have just left with nothing if he thought it was going to be a long-term great investment to stay there. So those are my parting thoughts on SeaWorld. Anything else that we have that you all want to bring up on the show?
The college program.
Yep. The college program.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Is it they're canceling the June arrivals, or what was the exact terminology on that?
That's exactly right. So they've already sent home all the college program, international program, and special program folks. That includes the internship program. So there's a lot of specialty program employees at the parks. And the advantage to Disney is they get these people at very low wages, but they do it for skills. So college program, they get course credit for it. International program, it's really an exchange from a foreign country, but they get to stay for some time in the US and find out what it's like to live here, get that experience on their resumes that they worked for a major entertainment corporation in the United States. And then for the internship, professional internship programs, they're learning how to be managers and to run things. And it's a fantastic opportunity if you can afford to do it. You had to be able to afford to go away and really not make any money for however long you are going to be in Orlando. And they take money out of your wages for the housing, and then you're feeding yourself. And at the end of the program, really, you're not going home with any money. It's impossible to make money while you're on the program, but it's still worth doing. They let all of those people go. And I think it's significant, and both at Disneyland and Disney World, folks. Here's why that's significant. They're the most affordable employees that Disney has. So they're letting those folks go and keeping their part-time and full-time staff instead, because they have kind of an obligation to those folks. They also don't have to house them, maintain housing centers and stuff for them and so forth. And I think during the shutdown, they were just worried that these kids would just be sitting there in housing and possibly in a dorm-like setting getting infected and spreading it around, because you can't keep kids that age from staying away from each other. No one's just going to stay in their little dorm room and not socialize with the other people on their floor.
There was I think there was like five to 8 people per dorm too. So from different, areas ever.
Right.
It was
high density living in each room.
Everybody's sharing a bedroom. So it was a lot of people in each apartment.
So I think it was smart for them to shut that down. What's interesting is now the next wave of program attendees has been canceled as well. And that's the early June group of college program kids. And they would come from all over the country, in fact, all over the world. And I think Disney's just not comfortable that either the parks will be open or they'll need that many employees. And we also know that some amount of virus is still going to be out there in the environment, and people that haven't already gotten infected would still be at risk, even once the parks reopen. And having those kids in high density like that, Chloe, I think is the concern for keeping it closed. So the next group that would potentially come in at Disney World would be in August. And that is the winter group. So they come in August, they stay through the end of winter. And who knows if that one will also end up being delayed. I think by August is a fairly safe time. Disney could always push it out a little bit and say, we're not going to start until end of August or something like that. There's no reason why these dates have to be set in stone, that they can't start, interviewing people for, September or October even. So whenever Disney needs them, they'll do it. But I think they want to be safe, and I think they also just don't want to be saddled with a humongous program of employees that they have to staff and that they don't have a need for.
And
when they're trying to pay
I
the
still feel like there is probably a lot of part-time cast members that could take on more hours once they're back open.
Yes.
I also think there's a large enough community in Orlando. There's, thousands and thousands of people that live there, and they could also take on, a job at Disney as well. So I think it's probable that they would open without DCPs because they still need to train them, let alone them getting, there, moving in. They still need to go through that week or so of training and then on the floor. So I think they would be, realistically, I think they would have enough of their core cast members before introducing the CPs in August or something.
I agree. And I really love to see Disney focus on the locals anyway. When the parks reopen, there are going to be so many people out of a job, particularly in the areas around the theme parks. And Anaheim has just been decimated. The hotels are closed and the restaurants and the theme parks. And so all those folks are out of jobs. And it would be a slap in the face to then bring in people from other parts of the country to have even lower wage jobs and then not help the local community recover. So I think it is in Disney's best interest financially, as well as being a good corporate citizen, to tap the local market first and see who needs a job. And they could even be, internship level jobs, for high school and college age kids that are just looking for an opportunity and may be willing to work at the DCP wages, but make those opportunities available first locally. And when you just can't source them all locally, then open up the program nationwide again. So again, we'll keep an eye on that one, folks. I know a lot of you are sentimental about that program because you were either in that program or you know somebody who has. And I can just tell you that all of us that love that program feel terrible for these kids who are not going to be able to have that experience. But these are trying times, and it's cause for a change in the way everything is being done. So let's turn this ship around and go in an entirely positive direction. And let's leave everybody with some really good ideas on things that they can do and try or whatever that you're loving right now. So Chloe, what are you loving right now?
Okay, so I just watched Onward for the very first time last night, and anybody who is skeptical that they may not like it, I'm sure a lot of people out there have watched it by now, but anybody who's a skeptic, I would say try it out and go through the first 10 or 15 minutes, because for me, it started very quickly. You're just kind of dropped into the story and you're like, what is this? This doesn't feel like a Disney or Pixar movie. What is happening? But the more it went on and the more you saw of this really immersive world that Disney Pixar created, I want to watch it again just for all the details, all the little knickknacks and things in each of the each of the scenes. And then the story itself just gets you. It is so, so, so good. Way better than I ever expected it to be. I really was not excited about this, but the story really grabs you. And I want to watch it again.
Well, great. Well, you're home, so you might as well.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it again. Why not?
Somebody I was just talking to the other day that loves Disney's musical films and said, Onward would have been so much better if it was a musical. And I challenged him and I said, well, that you just have to think of what kind of songs you would want to be. And next time you watch it, sing along in the spots that you think needed musical songs and see how much better you can make it. But yeah, Onward, watch it, folks. It's not unlike Frozen, but with boys. This is a tale of two brothers, really. It's not about what you think it's about. It's really about two brothers who are coming men and, miss their father, but how they connect with each other. So it's not at all unlike Anna and Elsa and missing their parents and learning how to reconnect with each other after having been distant. And so very similar stories, but in different ways. One's very masculine, one's very feminine. And I think that Onward is more approachable to boys than Frozen is. And so it's a great option for a lot of families. And I think girls will still love Onward.
I mean, I'm a girl. I love it. I must say, I love Frozen. Do not really care for Frozen 2. I like this way more than Frozen 2. I finished the movie and I was like, I'd rather watch that again than Frozen 2 again.
Excellent. Logan, what is on your loving it list?
So my loving it list is going to be a little cliche, and probably a lot of people have already watched it, but I'd encourage people to revisit it, is I'm rewatching the Imagineering series just because the parks have been closed, and I have to say it is filling, at least mostly filling, a void that I have in my heart right now. And I still find it very fascinating, and that they do acknowledge some of their failures on that. I think I like that most about the show, is they don't just totally dance around and say everything was sunshine and rainbows. But yeah, I find it fascinating. If you haven't watched it, definitely check it out. It's very cool.
There's a churro-sized hole in Logan's heart.
There is.
And
Mickey, it's a pretzel-sized hole, but yeah.
I hear you. I'm feeling the same. I'm totally missing the parks. We just had an article on the site from Elaine Wu, who is an incredible journalist from San Francisco. She's been on television, and she's won Emmy Awards, and she's just phenomenal. And she wrote an article for us about the 5 things she misses most about Disneyland. And it's not, Indiana Jones and this and that. Like, she was very thoughtful about the way that she picked it. One of them was, employee interaction, just talking to the cast members, and the magic that they bring and how they change your vacation and those kinds of things. Go to the site, read it, leave your own 5 things on the article. It's a great way to thank an author that you read on MiceChat or any other site, is to leave a comment. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them, or just want to comment about your own experience, you're thanking them by commenting and or sharing or leaving a like. Thumbs up is always nice, but a comment is very personal, and really would like to encourage people to learn to do that. You've got the time now that you're at home to thank the people that have been producing content for you. So just react to what they were saying. And in Elaine's case, I dropped in a few things that I'm missing, and I miss the smells of Disneyland, and I miss the kinetic energy, and I miss people watching. I miss sitting at the River Belle Terrace in New Orleans Square on the riverside and watching the boats go by and the people wandering by, and just lingering and having my lunch and just enjoying the ambiance of Disneyland. And those are the things that I'm missing, definitely. So definitely read that article and tell us what you think. My favorite thing today, some of you may have heard of it, most of you probably have not, but if you have Apple Music, iTunes, maybe on other services as well, Disney recorded some music for use in California Adventure called the Carthay Circle Sessions. Carthay Circle, of course, is the old theater building where Snow White was first released in Los Angeles. They've recreated it in California Adventure, and it's sort of the castle of California Adventure. Carthay Circle restaurant is inside, which is really fantastic. They produced music for that restaurant that is Disney songs done in that classical jazz era style. And it is wonderful background music, calming, lovely. You can get halfway through the album until you finally realize, oh, I'm listening to Disney songs. That's Whistle While You Work, or that's You've Got a Friend in Me. And it's wonderful. And I use it for all sorts of things in life. We play it as background music at a lot of MiceChat events, but I have been listening to it. There's 2 CDs worth, volume 1 and volume 2, which can now just be downloaded or streamed. And do it. I think you'll love it. You can just leave it on in the background while you're reading and writing and doing things around the house. It's just the perfect soundtrack to your life as a Disney fan. So that's my favorite thing right now.
That's awesome. When I was at, I visited Carthay Circle once when I was in Disneyland last time, and great restaurant. I noticed the background music reminded me a lot of Cruise Line, like the Royal Court, Royal Palace. Kind of remind me of that background music. So I'm excited to listen to it and see if that's, because I resonate more to Cruise Line than Carthay Circle. I've been on more Disney cruise ships than Carthay Circle, but I'm excited to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, and let me know what you thought of it and what your favorite songs were, because there's some just fantastic cuts on those 2 volumes. So I'd like to thank all of you out there for joining us for another one of these videos. I wasn't sure when we started doing these if we would keep doing them, and we're going to be honest with you. We're not quite getting the number of shares and views that really make a long video worthwhile. For every 15 minutes of video, it takes about 2 hours of editing to produce and then get it uploaded and all that stuff that we have to do with YouTube. So make these worthwhile for us. And all you have to do is share it with a few friends on Facebook and on Twitter, and we'll get the traffic that we need to really make it worthwhile. So if you're enjoying seeing our ugly mugs. Well, mine, Chloe, you too. You look great. But this old man is just getting furrier by the day. The hair's getting longer.
Oh, please,
Can't
you're looking
go
great.
get my hair cut anymore.
You're looking great.
I think all of us out there looking this way. I just saw Ellen today. She's doing her show now live from home. And she had all of her people on, remotely in their own homes. And they're all looking like us. So we're all starting to look like we're reverting to our cavemen selves. So in another month and a half, I'm going to be full on woolly mammoth. And looking forward to it. Like, I kind of want to see what happens if I do nothing to me. And you all can follow along if you share these videos.
Yes.
That's a threat. But we do. We love you guys. And I love you guys. Thank you, Chloe and Logan. Wonderful to be here with you. We'll think up some great new topics for you, and we'll be back again soon. Drop us a note below and let us know what you'd like to see us cover. And if you ever have a tip and you don't want to leave it in the comments, you just want to contact us directly, you can leave an email at tip@micechat.com. So you can email tip@micechat.com and leave us a message. So whether it's a drone video footage that you've taken that you don't want the world to know you took, but you want us to see, or somebody gets laid off and you want us to know, or you have insider information, or you just have an idea that you want us to do, and you just didn't want to leave a comment because maybe you're an Imagineer. So, see, I'm throwing it out there, Chloe.
Just ideas.
Just ideas. But thank you, everybody. We'll see you again real soon.